So tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm 18, going to be 19 in August, and I am diagnosed with autism, specifically Asperger's syndrome, but on the more like milder side of things. And I enjoy acting and arts and languages and culture. In my experience, the family that I have, I love them to death. But they tend to have opinions about how I can express myself with who I am. So, for example, my grandmother, she tends to tell you not to show it to people. So she tends to, like, if you layer a cake, she tells you to put on the bottom layer. Like, don't show people. And that's fine for her maybe, but for me, I think I need to let people know. So if I accidentally say something or I do something that doesn't make sense, it's like I tend to not have a filter, so I accidentally say what I'm thinking and then it doesn't make sense and I'm like, oh, sorry, I can't really like filter what I say, and then they're like, oh, okay, that's fine. But my grandma tends to be like, don't tell people you have autism or that you take medicine or that you do this and that, and that tends to make me feel like they're embarrassed about me. And I think that's worse than telling other people that you have a disability, because in a nutshell it's basically saying you have a disability and that's not okay. You can't tell people because that's embarrassing. So I tend to just say it because I really don't care anymore that people have negative opinions about autism or that anything like that. I don't want to have to hide the person who I am because of my autism. I want to be able to say, oh yeah, I have autism. Who cares? It's a thing. But other people tend to have differing opinions about what's acceptable and not acceptable socially. So I just tend to not talk to her about it anymore. Like,
You have a lot of self-confidence.
I think I do. I show that I do. I don't in reality.
Okay, but having autism, many people hide it, and some girls do. Do you know why?
I think it's because it's not as culturally shown that girls have autism. It's been shown a lot of times, like boys have autism, they have autism, they're really smart, they can do things, they're socially like can't handle. But then with girls, I have not once seen a female or like a girl with autism on TV or in movies or anything. It's always guys, and they're always like the stereotypical like really smart but can't function socially, like, and that tends to be why people say, oh, you don't look like you have autism. But it's more the fact that people just don't know what autism looks like, because it doesn't look like anything. It can look like anybody, and people may not show signs of it, or people may show signs of it. And I think they just can't, like, they can't function with the fact that a normal person can have autism, because that's like, it doesn't equal. I don't think it's that bad that you don't want to take your mask off, because in reality, having a mask just means that you're showing one side to other people, and then you're showing another side of yourself to the people that you trust the most. I have a mask. I'm having a mask on right now. It's the mask that I'm confident in who I am, but deep inside, I'm just like, I'm scared of who I am because I don't know how to handle it. I don't really take my mask off unless I'm comfortable with people, like the few people in my life that I know care about me.
But do you think it will stop you in life, having autism? Like,
I think it will hinder me, but I'm not sure it'll stop me. Like, maybe people won't take me as seriously. I think it'll hinder me because obviously I can't function socially in some situations, and I think I'm just gonna have to find ways to like get over that instead of trying to hide it. Girls on the autism spectrum are more likely to be sexually abused, emotionally abused, both by people that they trust and people that they don't know. For me personally, it was classmates who, like, they thought it was easy to get to me, And then I have also seen that a lot of people, they tend to get very like close to girls with autism, and they tend to like manipulate them and use them in like a broader sense. And it's disgusting because we as people, we're not as perceptive to like how other people perceive us. So if somebody thinks we're easy or something like that and they try to manipulate that, we don't really know. So the fact that some people try to use a mental illness to manipulate someone into doing something that they in actuality don't want to do is disgusting. For example, sexual manipulation, sexual abuse of a person that is like higher up than yourself, because we tend to, for me at least, I tend to be very high strung and I'm just like, yes sir, if it's somebody that's higher up on the status than me. And it's just using a person because it's easy to do so. They don't have as many borders up as other people may do. We have borders up, sure, but not in the sense that other people do. So I think it's very important to talk to the girls that are on autism spectrum or like think have autism, and just let them know, be careful who you talk to, be careful who you trust and who you let in to, like, just, you have to be careful to not trust everybody, but not mistrust everyone.
It happened to you?
Yes, it did. From the 3rd grade in elementary school up until my freshman year of high school, I was sexually, or like, it was misconduct by my fellow student or students during the years, and I don't know if I don't think they knew that I had autism, but I think they saw that I was emotionally, what's the word, like, not fragile, emotionally fragile. Like, it didn't take much. Like, I would come home crying because of bullying and my mom would be like really mad, and I don't think I told her the extent of it until like a few years ago. And then I think when I started really like not trusting people was during my freshman year, was when we had our like new student like field trip, and I was in my sleeping bed or like something, I don't know, it was like a mattress, and this guy who I had been talking to, he was a nice guy, he was a friend of mine, and he just laid in my mattress, and I was just like, didn't know what to say, so I was like, okay, this is fine, this is okay. And then he just started touching me and groping me, and I think after like a few minutes I said, can you not? And then he just said, oh, you know you like it. And then that kind of like solidified the mistrust I have of general people right now. And the like misconduct when I was a child was like, it wasn't brutal by some people's standards, but for me at like 8 to have to go to school and be afraid that this person is gonna be like touching me or gonna be doing something that I don't like is not really a feeling you want to have. And I still like sometimes dream of like the things that have happened, and it just really terrifies me that someday like that this is happening to other girls, like, but more severe or the same amount or less severe, just the fact that it's happening to anybody. And it's also happening to everybody on the spectrum, because people on the spectrum are more emotionally vulnerable. Like, that's not like a myth or anything, that's a fact.
What can we do?
Unfortunately, people who mistreat other people are unfortunately everywhere, but I think the most important thing is to teach the girls that you don't have to be meek, or you don't have to like take everything that they like put at you. You can't say no, and you can deny. You can say, no, I don't like that. Can you stop? or just anything that you don't want is happening, just say no.
How do we do that? Do we do it in schools or?
I think it's mandatory that people should know that it's okay to say no. Like, we've been doing that for a couple of years and it still seems like it's so ingrained in us that we can't say no. Like, we're gonna get hurt or something like that. And I think it's just a matter of putting it in school education that it's okay to say no. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, there's so many problems, but there's so few solutions that we can think of to implement because we're not used to this. It's not that it hasn't happened, it's more that we haven't had as many people like talk out about it. People with autism have had to like stay hidden or like be a secret for way too long, and the fact that you're actually talking to actual people with autism and actual autistic people and like putting it out there that like we have feelings and we have thoughts and opinions about how we can like make the situation better. I think that's fantastic, and I was so happy when I saw that and saw like a person that I know and she was like talking about her experience and the fact that I get to talk about my experience and what I think could be done. It just makes me really happy, and I think it's important that people see this because it's important. Like, we are actual human beings. We're not just an illness and we're not just like a condition. We are actual people. As stupid or silly as it sounds, I would like to act in a way that shows you that even if you have autism, you can do anything you like. I mean, you don't have to be neurotypical to be able to do something, and you don't have to be like a guy with autism to be able to like do something in the world, because all you ever hear about is like, boy with autism makes life-saving device, and it's just sad that we never get to see the representation for the girls that have autism. I was a avid anime watcher when I was younger, and I think that's kind of contributed. It's like you like something that's not very popular with the other kids, and then all of a sudden you're kind of like an outcast. And it didn't help that I like had thick eyebrows or like really dark eyebrows and then really light hair, and they would just like find every little thing and they would like just pick.
What did that do to you?
It destroyed my self-esteem. It destroyed the way I view myself towards other people, and I think it contributed to my self-destructive habits that I sometimes have. And I don't think that it made me a worse person, but I don't think it made me especially a better person. I matured way faster than I would have if I hadn't been like bullied and stuff like that.
But you got bullied, and what happened?
I tried to commit suicide multiple times. First when I was 8, and then again a few years later, and then again and then again. I think I like, it was like just moments in my day or my like month or year or whatever where I was just like at rock bottom, where something bad would happen at school and I was like, nobody really cares if I'm here. Welp.
But you're 8 years old and you don't want to live.
Yeah, I was in a very bad place. They would like...
What did you try to do?
I tried drowning myself in a bathtub, and then I would try like hanging myself with like a shoelace, and that was just like because I'd seen it on TV and it was like, okay, so those are legitimate ways. But then in the end, the only thing I could think of that was good in my life was my mom. Oh, I've been so good throughout this. She actually didn't know about that until I was 14 or 15 when I actually told her that. And she just didn't know. She knew I had depression, but she never knew that I like wanted to die. So she was just crying and I was crying and we were like hugging, and then she was like, I want you to tell me if you feel like this. And all the times that I've actually felt really bad are the times that I've like talked to her and I've been like, hey mom, I don't feel so swell, can I talk to you? And she's like, of course you can, honey. And of course my dad has helped a lot. My mom and dad are divorced, but that doesn't like stop them from being friends, and he helps out a lot and I'm so thankful for them. And I don't think anybody wants to be a bully. I just don't think they have the proper outlet for their emotions or how they feel, and they don't get that validation that other people mostly get from their parents. And I don't think it all starts because of one thing. It's multiple things that build up over time. Bullies they're unborn, they're made. And even if they have some like underlying problems, that if the parent doesn't show you how to respect people, then how are you supposed to know that you should respect people?